the world's most captivating cities. Full of life, full of history, and full of dazzling architecture.
Hello and welcome to Barcelona, the city renowned for its culture and food.
And of course, football. But it's also a major player in the world of technology, as it's home to the Mobile World Congress,
The largest event on the planet for mobile phones.
I'm Naweed Jabarkil.
And I'm Mariam Bamard.
Here's what's coming up.
Samsung's rivals move in as the market leader falters.
A brave new world of connected devices.
The rise and rise of Netflix, but how long can it go on?
We've got lots of competitors. YouTube just announced they're doing 1 billion hours a day.
And how smartphones could change life for millions in India.
With over 100,000 consumers and experts attending the Mobile World Congress this year, the pressure is on for tech heavyweights to try and stand out.
Many of them took the opportunity here at MWC to launch new products into what's an increasingly competitive market.
The Mobile World Congress opens its doors and the crowds are massing their way into this huge show of the latest in mobile technology. The biggest brands all competing for a slice of this market worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
What we will see this year at MWC, devices with much better cameras, much faster connecting to the networks, and also with other features.
This is the mobile show of the year, so we want to bring as much innovation as possible to everyone here.
BlackBerry were first out of the starting blocks a full 2 days before the doors opened. They launched the KeyOne with its physical keyboard. The BlackBerry brand name was recently licensed to Chinese electronics company TCL, but will that be enough to revitalize the brand?
TCL is a very pragmatic company, and this is how we have been very successful over the past 10 years, rebuilding other brands also. So we are going to work on the legacy of the BlackBerry brand, which is very solid, very good product for the end user.
Sony usually launches new smartphones at MWC, no exception this year with 4 new handsets. The Xperia XZ Premium is now the flagship. It has an all-powerful Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor. And its super slow motion camera runs a whopping 960 frames per second on the world's first Dolby Vision 4K HDR smartphone display.
So we have the Xperia XZ Premium, bringing the world's first super slow motion video into a smartphone, so you can capture dramatic video footage like this that will excite everyone, and hopefully everyone will love it across the world.
The importance of this event cannot be underestimated, but nevertheless there were no new phones here from the 2 industry leaders, Samsung with 21% of the world's market and Apple with 15%, and doesn't attend MWC. So then it's all about Chinese manufacturers. Huawei has 10% and Oppo up to 6% thanks to strong growth in its home territory, and Vivo close behind with 5%. We saw huge attendance for Chinese developer Huawei unveiling their new P10 and P10 Plus.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Billed as the smartphone of choice for digital photography, it boasts 2 rear cameras as well as a front-facing camera, all with Leica optics. This was a big stage, big screen event for a company with big ambitions. At $600, this is a high-end phone, but so far the only way has been up for Huawei's market share. So, plenty of launches, but what do the experts think?
At this show, first day, it's always all about the phones. So actually we had day 0 yesterday. We saw a new phone from Huawei, now number 3 biggest smartphone player in the world. We saw LG roll out a very nice product with the G6. Of course, we saw then the excitement around Nokia with what they're doing and their brand coming back into the market. So there's kind of a retro thing going on. Then this morning we had Sony And what's remarkable is these phones are incredibly powerful, but they are kind of falling into a bit of a sea of sameness. So it's a big story on one hand, but at the same time there's a bit of apathy towards the smartphone business. So there's some tensions emerging.
Yeah, and definitely we're seeing a lot more wearable gadgets and things on the market, tablets. Is there any one that would really stand out for you right now?
I have to say, it's probably the one that's not here. We've had this amazing window of opportunity for all the other phone makers that Samsung decided not to announce the S8 here. So those guys have got some clear air, some breathing space, so they need to make hay while the sun shines, and that's why I think you're seeing companies like LG and Huawei putting a huge amount of money into this show.
3 out of the top 5 biggest smartphone makers in the world are now Chinese companies, Chinese players, and they are also expanding to the Western world where they can bring their prices up. They can attract new users from Apple and from Samsung, and they are bringing quite interesting innovations. If we think about what Huawei launched yesterday, the P10 and the P10 Plus, they are outstanding handsets at lower price points than the iPhones and the Galaxies from Samsung, and that's the kind of value proposition that end users understand. They want something that it's outstanding in terms of design, with very good materials, that it has an excellent camera, and for a price they can afford.
And it's not just about phones and handsets. We've got wearable gadgets, we've got tablets, and we've got more for you after the break.
Hello again. It's not just mobile phones here, of course. The tech world is brimming with innovation, from tablets to watches to robotic cars. Here's a look at the other products and devices that are making the news at MWC.
Instead of a much anticipated new handset, market leader Samsung launched new tablets here. Samsung says the Galaxy Tab S3 offers a cinema-like experience with 4K video playback, driven by a quad-core processor to keep everything running smoothly. The Tab 3 has quad stereo speakers around the edges, tuned by Samsung's newly acquired company AKG, who make Harman speakers. As for design, well, that's all important for Samsung to meet their customers' great expectations.
We're focusing on the all-rounder aspect of the tablets, especially when it comes to millennials. The product has to be beautiful, has to be powerful, has to be light and portable. That's a prerequisite, but then everything they can do on top, everything they can do with it is absolutely crucial.
More new devices now. The Huawei Watch 2 liberates the wrist piece from the handset. Text and calls can be received without any connection to a phone. With an integrated mic and speaker, it can be operated manually or with voice recognition, running Android Wear 2 with Google Assistant. It's not completely waterproof, but CEO Richard Yu was very enthusiastic.
It has all the sports functionality. It has internal GPS support, and the 4G LTE support, and also real-time heartbeat monitoring, and water and dust proofing, all this sports functionality. But this watch also can work standalone. Without a smartphone, it can work.
Semiconductor maker ARM was bought by SoftBank last year for $32 billion in one of the biggest tech deals of 2016. This year, they announced its shipment of over 10 billion chips, but only a 5% increase in the global mobile phone market. So, at MWC, it's presenting a number of mobile-related devices.
So this is an example of machine learning and computer vision on an ARM-based smartphone. What we've got here is a smartphone which will recognize the type of food that you put in front of it, and it will also estimate its weight and count the calories. It's recognized here as chocolate, and we're getting a weight of 130 grams and a calorie value of 794.
Virtual roller coasters, 360-degree cameras, drumming robots, and dancing robots. A bewildering display of mobile-related technology here includes a variety of wearables such as VR headsets, but some say they have a limited future.
On the wearable side, it seems to have kind of flagged out. It's burnt out a little bit. There's some new watches. Huawei have one, LG have one. There's a few others around there. But actually, we may see more news at the Basel World show later in March, which is kind of the festival of bling. That's where we're going to see some more.
Smart devices have been with us for a while. They and many other industries are waiting for 5G to speed everything up.
One of the big topics in mobile communication is the arrival of 5G. But what does it really mean, and what difference does it really make? Here's 5 facts about 5G.
The aim is to create new ultra-fast broadband networks capable of a much higher data capacity. It's needed to enable the surge in numbers of mobile devices as more and more products become connected, the so-called Internet of Things. Limited technical trials for 5G are planned by manufacturers this year, and industry-wide standards are due to be agreed in 2019. And it's going to have a hefty price tag. The EU has estimated the cost at 56 billion euros just to cover Europe.
Everyone is talking about 5G, and of course IoT is like the holy grail. It's going to be the big application, but IoT is a terrible term. It's like kind of a Victorian talking about the electricity of things. It's going to be everywhere, you know, Internet of everything. That's just crazy. But I'm excited about another technology. There's something called gigabit LTE, and that works on the networks today. That's being rolled out right now. The new Sony phone this morning supports it, and that will give you 50 to 100 megabits per second or even more direct to your phone.
Away from handsets, the automotive industry is just one area that's set to use 5G technology to transform our lifestyles with the connected car.
We really expect that connected car, again, will make it easier for you to engage with your digital ecosystem. So when you come in the vehicle, as vehicles become more automated, you will be given many more choices of enjoying entertainment, being able to communicate, to leverage Skype or whatnot in the vehicle. So it's very helpful to get technology and enablers in the car to allow people to consume content, to consume infotainment, to consume communication much more seamlessly.
With a connected electric rickshaw centerpiece to their stand, Indian company Unlimit, powered by Reliance, are confident that 5G will greatly benefit India.
We are connecting the world in India that makes it happen. So you can see it with the rickshaw. The rickshaw is connected. You can take care of people, healthcare services, industrial automation. You can connect machines. And all these things in the future will be connected and make life for people in the private and the business life much more easier.
It could be the plot of one of Netflix's flagship series, an invitation from a mysterious billionaire to visit him at his villa high above Barcelona.
So in true Netflix style, we're being taken to an undisclosed location to talk to CEO Reed Hastings. And it certainly is Stranger Things.
This luxurious villa is testament to a company that's already dominating the online television market, and now it has eyes on what we watch on our mobile devices.
Do sit down, Prime Minister. I've ordered tea. Or something stronger, perhaps.
Oh dear, did no one explain?
The streaming service is on its game. Original shows like The Crown are returning for a second series, and the company's share price is near an all-time high. Subscriptions are up too. There are more than 93 million worldwide, helping the company make more than $8 billion in revenue last year, and it's announced a massive content budget of $6 billion for 2017. But there are challenges. It faces competition in India from Amazon's cheaper service, and it's been unable to crack China, both valuable markets for sustaining growth. And then there are the rivals, as well as Amazon, YouTube, Apple, and Facebook are all potential threats. But the company's founder told me he's not too concerned about the competition.
We've got lots of competitors. YouTube just announced they're doing 1 billion hours a day of internet viewing. There's Amazon, there's all kinds of companies, there's individual networks. So, but what's great for that is the consumers get to choose among so many different services on the internet. And Netflix will be hopefully one of the services they choose. Facebook's doing more video, mostly around advertising supported, like with YouTube. And then with Netflix, we don't have any interruptions, no advertisements, and it's very inexpensive at about 10 euros a month.
You're the leader of U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and you have spoken to the president once in 70 days.
We'd like to have such a variety of content. I mean, we've got some new movies coming from Brad Pitt, War Machine. You know, the U.S. is growing for us, and of course, so is international markets in Latin America and Europe and Asia. So we're just very excited to be able to offer Netflix all around the world. We're really tailored by the individual rather than by the country. So we have great Indian content, and if you're Indians in London, if you're in the US, or in India, of course, in Mumbai, you get great access to content.
CEO of Netflix, Reed Hastings, catching up with us a little earlier. Don't go anywhere, plenty more still to come, including a look at India's multi-million-dollar taxi app industry and the return of a mobile phone classic. Stay tuned to find out more. Welcome back. When it comes to mobile phones, India is one of the biggest markets in the world. It's the fastest growing major economy with almost 1.3 billion consumers. In an increasingly competitive marketplace, it's Chinese firms that are leading the way.
India's economy is booming, and so is its thirst for handsets. According to IDC data, the number of mobiles increased from 712 million in 2015 to 726 million in 2016. Feature phones still dominate, accounting for 60% of the total last year, but smartphone usage is on the up, increasing almost 12% year on year.
India is exploding in terms of phone adoption and smartphone adoption, so it's definitely a key market for any player to be at and to play, because it will represent a massive opportunity in terms of the number of units they sell, but also in terms of the money they make there when they start and when they can bring prices to slightly higher price points.
China's phone makers in particular had a successful 2016. IDC data shows their market share in the smartphone segment touched almost 50% in the fourth quarter of last year, while shipments doubled compared to the previous 12 months. So, where are Chinese brands succeeding while others lose ground?
By going quickly to market online, we have taken a very strong position, about 35% share of the online market, which itself is over a third of the overall Indian market for smartphones, and that has built into a 10% market share. Now we're going to grow offline, and the Moto G and the G5 in particular is going to help us greatly do that.
While Xiaomi and Lenovo have focused on online sales and managed to become the second and third largest smartphone vendors respectively, price remains a key factor for why many Indians are turning to Chinese brands. The likes of Oppo, Vivo and more recently Itel have seen major success in the feature phone market and have begun pushing out India's homegrown competitors. It's low-cost devices offering 4G services that are set to see most growth in the coming year.
Markets like India, where people are not that interested on, or may not be so interested on having a smartphone, or may not have the networks ready to access the fast speed they will need, those kind of users, they are looking for basic phones at very, very low price points.
Some Chinese brands are feeling the heat too. Huawei is quickly becoming a household name and is now the third largest smartphone seller globally. But at the Mobile World Congress, its CEO told us he's concerned about the market being heavily saturated.
India market is mainly the middle low tier market, so the mass market, the low tier. But for Huawei, we are trying to do some business there. But currently, our market share is not leading in the India market.
Analysts predict 2017 will be a testing year for phone makers competing in India, with consolidation in the sector a real possibility, especially for domestic firms. Indian people's desire to be connected may be a golden opportunity, but it's one that's being fought over heavily, and at the moment, Chinese companies are coming out on top.
One aspect of the Indian economy that's been transformed by technology is the taxi industry. A growing number of Indians are using their phones to book and pay for cabs, resulting in a fierce rivalry between Uber and homegrown startup Ola. But where is the market headed next?
There are a few so-called unicorns in India, startups that have turned into businesses valued at more than $1 billion. One of the best known is the ride-hailing app Ola. Founded in 2010, it says it now employs over 500,000 drivers and believes there's still huge room for growth in the country.
In India, the car ownership is just 2 to 3% versus, let's say, about 70% in the US and 20-30% in China, which means, and even with that, our roads are already clogged, as you might have experienced on your trips to India. So what India really needs is not necessarily more cars on the road, but how do you create sharing products where folks can join together and travel together.
Its senior director was invited here to Barcelona to talk about the benefits of a shared economy, which has allowed companies like Airbnb and Uber to disrupt traditional industries worldwide. In India, Ola and its US rival are engaged in a stern battle to dominate one of the world's largest potential markets. Both are looking to offer extra products to try and stand out. Ola Play is the Bangalore-based firm's answer to that. It allows customers to control aspects like music, temperature, and the routes taken, and to save preferences for future rides. We did reach out to Uber to be a part of this report, but heard nothing back. One area both firms are targeting, though, is mobile money. In a country of over 1 billion people, where cash has long been king, both Uber and Ola have recently teamed up with telecoms operators to allow users to pay for journeys with currencies stored on their phones.
If you travel in an Ola cab, you can pay with M-Pesa, so it's very simple. But it's not just that, it's also paying your TV bill, paying your water bill, paying your electricity bill. And very important in India is India, as you know, pays a lot of social grants. Gas for people who are pregnant, for old people, for poor people. And all of this can be paid and is being paid by the state governments directly into the M-Pesa wallets.
Rural areas could be one of the biggest beneficiaries of mobile payments. In communities like this one, many people don't have access to traditional banking services. But rollout has been slow in India. Vodafone's M-Pesa mobile money is the market leader, but is used by just 0.3% of the population. That figure is likely to increase as more people get smartphones.
For a country that's also an emerging economy, it has profound consequences for the citizenry. Because when you move from a feature phone to a smartphone, you have the ability of the citizens to participate in digital literacy, to engage with government, to engage in financial inclusion services. Let's not forget the fact that 90% of Indian villages don't have a bank branch. So for an Indian person living in a village, their ability to have a smartphone means that they can have a bank account for the first time.
Now, one story that's had many people talking here at MWC has been the attempted revival of Finnish phone maker Nokia. This might be a trip down memory lane for some of you, many of you in fact. Follow me. We can just squeeze in here. Remember this, it is of course the 3310, one of the best-selling phones of its time. It's back and it has a 21st century makeover.
One more thing, I almost forgot. Let me reintroduce the iconic Nokia 3310.
It may be a retro throwback, but it's significantly slimmer, weighing in less than 80 grams. With the same look as its predecessor, the new 3310 feature phone has a 2.4-inch screen, a 2-megapixel rear camera and a basic web browser, but no selfie cam, and it doesn't have 3G or 4G. However, in standby mode, there's a massive 31 hours of battery life, and it runs Nokia's current Series 30 Plus operating system. You can even play an updated Snake game on it. The really big news is that Nokia have priced this at just $40. So, what are early impressions?
I think it's a fantastic phone. It's very, very lightweight, and very good colors which have come out of it, and very user-friendly, very handy.
Really brilliant phone for this cheap price.
but I wish it should be 3G inside.
It's good for holidays and if you're travelling. I think it's quite nice to be able to take it away with you. I think festivals would be quite a big thing for it. I can see it being a must-have thing to have at Glastonbury this summer or something like that.
Big fan of Snake. I used to play it when I worked in a large corporate, and when you're at the airport and you had nothing to do, we had Snake Championships. That's fantastic.
What an exciting week it's been, Naweed.
Absolutely, and plenty to look forward to in the technology world in 2017. I'm Naweed Jabarkil.
And I'm Mariam Bamard. Thanks for watching.